I'm Max, and this is a short presentation on a tutorial on how to do Unit 4 up to E5 and M2 and D1. So I've kind of done my entire presentation. I've not really labelled it P1, P2, P3 because a lot of these really closely linked together, so it's quite easy to write about them all at the same time. I might go over it at the end and put some bullet points for what needs to be covered in certain paragraphs. But let's go off to the start, I'll show you. It might not be a short presentation. That was wrong. Okay. So, ICT systems have become so integrated into modern businesses that it's difficult to imagine how even the smallest companies can survive without them. Therefore, it is essential that they are regularly updated, /upgraded, and this is important for several reasons. The most important being that you can improve customer orientation and service, gain a competitive edge, less susceptible to hacking and security breaches, to comply with the latest IT rules and regulations, to improve and maintain business functionality, and to gain a better return on investment. These are just some
if you can, summarise it as you go through. I know it's difficult, I know it's hard.
I'll read through it. I should read the first bit. Okay.
So you've stated the reasons why a business would be using IT.
Yeah. Okay, so I looked at the, this is a good site to look at for this assessment, by the way, so you might want to Google it. I've looked at the IT Governance Institute's report on the most important business goals in relation to IT, in which they say that IT must form a corporate skeleton and central nervous system of an organisation in order for a big business to actually thrive in an IT-dominated world. So one of the key issues about IT is that not one vendor can fulfill all desires, which is why we have so many different platforms now, and that's why some companies are using Google Analytics, using Mailchimp, and also using Salesforce, which are three completely separate companies. The main thing about these systems, though, is they almost integrate with each other. So you can purchase IT systems from multiple vendors, but if they integrate together, it means that you can use the statistics from other platforms and apply them to the next platform. So, for example, Google Analytics can provide data to be utilised in Salesforce, which means that different departments now seek to share knowledge with each other, so IT can be utilised to its maximum potential. This has caused the death of many hierarchical corporations that cannot adapt quickly enough to prevent bankruptcy. So by that, it's a bit of a harsh term, but I'm basically trying to say that companies that haven't integrated their different departments together, haven't put sales together with marketing, for example, often nowadays go bust, because most of these tools rely on different information from different departments. It's important that both departments have good knowledge of what each other do. So I mentioned the theorist in my one, which is something you don't have to do, but it's a good theory, and I suggest you can this one up as well for the presentation. Bouts and Phillips unveiled their book Business Decisions and Information Systems at functional areas that anything but independent in the business. As an example, sales relies on information from operations to understand inventory, place orders, calculate transportation costs, and gain insights into product availability. This is what enables data-driven marketing, the core foundation of contemporary marketing. So on the next section, I'm more trying to go into P2, which is where you want to give an example of a company that's really utilised IT. So I used to work for Starbucks, so I have good knowledge of what their IT was like. So Starbucks are a good example because they created the world's first mobile order and pay app. So with this app, it meant that you could be outside of the store, you could order your coffee and walk into the store 5 minutes later and it'd be ready for you, you go to order keys. So this was a massive change for a not really techy organisation and a risky play. So a lot of things have to go into this. It costs a lot of money, such as market research, A/B testing, app development, new technology integration, and these are just a few of the procedures. Because of this, Starbucks placed themselves under a massive financial risk.
Why was that?
So this is about to go into here. So there was a lot of financial risk, so much research, testing, and development had to go into this product that either failed and they would have wasted potentially millions of their money. And the next thing about financial risk we're about to go on to is that integrating your app with a contactless payment system means that customer debit and credit cards are stored within the app. And without secure servers that hold the information, Starbucks are liable for millions of accounts. We should not only start a lawsuit, but lose a large percentage of their customer base were they to be hacks. So an example of a company which has lost millions just because they've held on to customer information is Sony. Their 77 million account details leaked after a security breach, costing them millions in return, and causing them to develop a more secure server and store information and hire more cybersecurity staff to maintain their servers. So at the end of the day, if your servers aren't secure enough as well, you're going to need to hire more people to maintain your servers and put more research into creating better security, which again will cost more money. So the other issues as well is that you need to train staff with a new app like this. So new staff it can cause stress in workers, confusion for customers, and unforeseen technological issues such as orders not coming through or out of stock items being ordered. However, aside from the negative, the app was a massive success and the risk paid off. Integrating this technology increased Starbucks' sales to its highest ever recorded, 11% increase between 2015 and 16. And encouraged their previously dying Kickstarter audience to return to try new and innovative technology when ordering their coffee. However, this is not to say that Starbucks is safe, as other companies are beginning to develop their apps and independent coffee shops are beginning to offer similar services. Starbucks will still lay out money for app development and maintain their image. If the app is becoming outshadowed, Starbucks' hit creation could be its greatest downfall. Therefore, it is essential to have an efficient risk management scheme in place. If companies do not implement one, sales and productivity can be severely affected and spiral domino effects, making it harder to come back from the damage and simply prevent it. So basically saying that if Starbucks' competitors outpace them, then more or less it will become a lot harder for Starbucks to gain funding to come back against them. So this is going into P3, which is about risk management. So the most widely accepted risk management procedure is the core 5 steps of managing risk, which is to identify, analyse, evaluate, treat, monitor, and review. So I'm going to move on to another company now that have an excellent risk management system, which is Snapchat. So Snapchat is an example of an organisation which uses effective risk management processes. Currently, Snapchat is under threat from a variety of risks. Their millennial audience is hard to retain and beginning to use other social media platforms that offer Snapchat's features alongside their own, such as Instagram. As Facebook and Instagram added story features, snap sending, money transferring, and photo filters, Snapchat began facing the same IT threats that killed applications like MSN Messenger and MySpace, and competitors began offering enhanced versions of their services.
Just quickly on that, mate. So what were the IT threats that you saw at Snapchat?
Their threats have been through being an early adopter, more or less. So you guys heard the term early adopter?
And Microsoft were using...
So an early adopter is the first company to bring out a new service, which is often skyrockets them up. But competitors often catch on to this and release a better version of the same service. So, for example, we have Microsoft Word, but we also have Google Docs nowadays, which is another version of Microsoft Word, which is arguably better. So, that's the kind of issues that you have with early adopters. So, even Snapchat's CEO released a statement about this threat and saying about how much it threatens the business. He said, if we are unable to protect our proprietary rights or prevent unauthorized use or appropriation by third parties, the value of our brand and other intangible assets may be diminished and competitors may be able to more effectively mimic our service and methods of operations. Any of these events could seriously harm our business. So, to react to feature mimicking, Snapchat created a risk management scheme. So, identify. Snapchat were losing their key millennial audience to other social media platforms and began to integrate Snapchat features into their designs. Analyse. This could result in losing Snapchat's primary audience due to a lack of features. This means less money and less money spent on development to combat this. Evaluate. This is a high magnitude risk and is one that should be immediately addressed. It is serious enough to warrant treatment as it is the top of Snapchat's project risk register. Treat. Snapchat created a risk response plan through using a brand new IT innovation never seen before. We are adding geo features such as snap maps, creating customizable and personalized casting avatars to represent you, and developing public stories, many millennials maintain loyalty and are impressed by Snapchat's innovation. It remained new and trendy, with other social media platforms being slow on the uptake, generally copying Snapchat's features months to years later. Out of sheer principle, this has kept many millennials on board who are excited to see Snapchat's latest innovations. And long-term review. Snapchat user usage data to see how many people are actively using their new features and continue to introduce more. They perform regular updates to compensate for fluctuations in usage rates and attempt to keep their innovations trendy at all times. For example, by adding new Snapchat photo filters for events such as Halloween. This ties into relationship marketing, essentially providing consumers with non-profit content that can help businesses by raising its PR and image, as well as provide more options and flexing analytics. So, there's another issue here. Although Snapchat have appropriately been responding to risks, there are still many more which they are struggling to address. There are software glitches, spam bots that threaten users' attention. With many having their privacy invaded thanks to these issues, Snapchat also have an awful fail-safe system. So, you guys know what a fail-safe system is? So, a fail-safe system is basically your backup, like your plan B. If anything goes wrong with the main core part of your app, it should be your backup. Snapchat basically don't have one. So, the company relies heavily on Google Cloud for storage, bandwidth, and other services. Its over-reliance on competitive force puts Snapchat at incredible risk of price hikes, server attacks, and sudden dismissal. Even if Snapchat were to shut down for a week, a heavy portion of their audience would be lost. Google are an extremely compliant and confident organisation, so the risk does not warrant immediate attention. However, if left unchecked, Snapchat could be in some trouble. So also, we have the issue that Snapchat was now released about approximately, I think it's about 7 years ago or so now. And as future IT developments are coming into place, Snapchat have to keep up to date with these, or they really do face being outdated again. So it needs to be looking at the future. So, systems such as Facebook VR are set to release soon, which will become a brand new way of messaging friends with social media and leave Snapchat completely outdated. The brand will need to ensure that there's a unique selling point to distance itself from these developments, or similarly to what others have done to them, copy their ideas. The primary issue here is Facebook VR is close to being fully developed, and it may be too large an investment too late. Other methods of managing these risks include identifying and acting upon a perceived quality gap. What do people think of Snapchat? What does Snapchat actually deliver them? This form of analysis is useful for creating software that directly appeals to your audience. Fortunately, Snapchat is voted as the most innovative social media app, but also the most popular dying social media. That's my software. Also got dying social media. This is the biggest issue all early adopters face. Competition, adapting an original idea and struggling to compete against it. So, this is probably the most archaic thing about Snapchat. This goes completely against almost every other company models that exist. So, unfortunately, reports reveal that Snapchat's founders, Ian Spiegel and Robert Murphy, are hard-headed and control all voting decisions. This essentially means that anyone that has a stake in the company or is on a board of the company do not have any decisions in any votes that they have. It's only decided by the CEOs.
It makes sense now, because when with the new updates, it was saying that it wasn't good, and then they'll just say, oh, well, we don't have to get used to it. That makes sense now.
100%, yeah. They were research into that. I wrote an article about it recently. They were heavily advised to revert back to the old format, and the entire board was for reversing back, and the two CEOs refused to do it. And yeah, and the other issue with that is that because
I was just saying it's a good point you made actually, because in business, you know the old adage, customers are always right. You run a big risk if you ignore what your customers are telling you. It's quite arrogant. That's a good point to bring up.
There's also another huge issue with Snapchat, and it's the contract that they have. So, even if these two CEOs were to be terminated or leave the position, they would still maintain that voting power even if it didn't work for Snapchat anymore. So, even if the company's owned by someone else currently, they would retain that voting power until the contract change. So, One employee quoted that if Mr. Spiegel or Mr. Murphy's employment class is terminated, they will continue to have the ability to exercise the same significant voting power and potentially control the outcome of all matters submitted to our stockholders for approval. So this approach is old-fashioned and is partially blamed for the decision to change Snapchat's interface to design which has had over 1 million signatures to be reverted back to its old format. Unlike Facebook, Snapchat rarely tests their updates with control groups, or as stated, any decision made by the CEOs about how popular goes through. In a rapidly upgrading world where innovation and development is key, leaving all creative decisions to two like-minded men in power could be the pitfall that will bring Snapchat down. Okay, so this is now going to be going on more to P4, which is about recent IT developments. So, IT developments are now giving companies more tools than you'd ever thought possible about 20 years ago. One of the most significant developments which made companies Snapchat to even exist is cloud computing. Although it was initially introduced in the 1960s, the concept was not truly utilised until now. The first commercial company that notably made use of cloud storage was Salesforce in 1999. The CRM system aimed to give users many applications from one single website, which is done through storing data on Salesforce's application as opposed to computer hardware. Nowadays, cloud storage is widely used commercially thanks to the heavy development by Google, Apple and Microsoft. Traditional hard drives become far less relevant, and as a result there is less demand for larger ones. Along with software development, this means that hard drives have become much cheaper and much faster and more efficient solid-state drives have gained popularity, with many opting for having less storage space for better performance. So, once IPv6 was released in 2012, this is my fault, I'll just let you guys know. I forgot last night, it's my fault, I didn't upload my latest version and that actually has a full paragraph written about it. I will re-upload it and I can put it on Slack if you guys want to have a read. But yeah, that's unfortunately.
You're moving on now to Internet Protocol version 6.
Yeah.
Which is the addressing system for all devices on the internet.
Yeah, I have got a whole thing written about that, I'm pretty sure. I will upload it to on Slack, so if you guys want to read it, I'll also highlight the paragraph that you missed out in case you want to go back on it. But yeah, we'll just leave that for now because I'm reading about that. So another development IT is allowed selling through e-commerce. E-commerce similarly to cloud computing has actually been around for a long time, 37 years. But again, like cloud computing, it was never truly utilised or developed upon until recent years. The first company to use our browser for e-commerce was Pizza Hut in 1994. So this sparked off the world's first online bank. To make payments more secure, PayPal was then released in 1998, which is then e-commerce finally began to take off. eBay purchased PayPal for $1.1 billion, which changed online shopping forever, as after heavy interface changes, security development, and web integration, online shopping finally felt secure. This leads into 2003, where Amazon posted its first yearly profit report, which inspired many other companies to get on board. By 2012, e-commerce sites in the US totaled a net profit of $170 billion, an increase of 12% since 2011. One of the leading factors for development of e-commerce is firstly the widespread success of early adopters, but also development of IT over time. It's become quicker and easier than ever to visit any website we choose, and we now almost expect any physical store to also sell online. Websites now save account details for you in a secure manner as tech has developed. This means simply clicking buy an item will have it delivered to your house without needing to input any information after your first time. E-commerce has done wonders for many businesses. It reduces the cost of maintaining and managing inventory as it can all be stored in a warehouse facility. This also offers a lot more automated functions. Buying habits can now be recorded and referred to for using tools such as Google Analytics. It allows for targeted marketing to be done right and is the basis for other forms of marketing such as relationship marketing, where these analytics can be used to provide relevant content. Brand images are improved through looking technologically savvy, as well as this resulting in widening their consumer bases to areas that in normal circumstances couldn't access the brand's physical store. Paperwork is also extremely reduced, which is not to mention extremely boosts the company's environmental friendliness and sustainability. You're not needing to keep receipts, and buying habits can all be viewed on one platform such as Salesforce as opposed to analysing thousands of receipts. Stores can now stay open 24/7 as well, which especially helps when customers who work long hours need to shop, thereby substantially increasing profit. So you can link this to your e-commerce proposal in assessment 3, which is what I've done here. Because we do write a lot about the history of e-commerce and about how e-commerce benefits society, so it's good to link it in if you can. And I think the last one I was mentioning was Microsoft Office, because this has had an extremely interesting development pathway. So what I'll tell you quickly is that given its age, you would expect Microsoft Office by this point to be dust and not actually be here anymore. Given the history of many other applications such as Messenger, MySpace and Skype, after other companies start releasing their own software platforms, they simply get outdated and that's it. With the release of Google Docs, there was a lot of suspicion that Microsoft would eventually fall, but they're still by far the most popular office system around on computers nowadays, so we'll go through why that is. Okay, so
questions? Can you take some questions?
Yeah, sorry guys.
Any questions? Yeah? On what he's going to talk about? What did you think about the point you were making about using IT tools to integrate sales with the operations side, the importance of that?
You know, like right at the beginning, we talked about Starbucks. They had a financial risk. Like, how much was the risk?
They didn't actually release any figures, so I can't actually give you that number. But with any app interface that's made, you need a substantial amount of investment, and that can go into millions if the app is like extremely well integrated. You can look online, type in app fundraisers online for e-commerce sites. You can see how much money they're trying to raise to make a basic e-commerce app, and that'll give you kind of a clue of roughly the amount that you need.
So app fundraisers, e-commerce?
So for example, app fundraisers, yeah, type that in, and then you can put GoFundMe, and they'll have fundraising accounts for creating apps.
Oh, okay.
And things like that. I actually got my idea of it, because I don't know if I know Smosh. You know them? I used to watch them when I was younger. They created an app one day, and they needed to do a massive fundraiser for it, even though the guys were already essentially millionaires. So that's kind of the issue with app fundraising.
What about the point you made to the others about, in a way, the risk of being an early adopter? And that's using technology in an innovative way, like Snapchat. And then coming with that, the risk of...
That'll be a huge risk for Snapchat as well.
Yeah, 100%. You also have the issue that a lot of companies don't come in as early adopters, but end up being one anyway through their own innovation. So Facebook, as a big example, were not an early adopter. They were technically enough created MySpace, and they defeated the competition. Now that MySpace doesn't exist anymore, and Facebook developed over time, it's now used to look at funny videos, to scroll through photos, and message people, and now lots of other apps offer you the exact same service. So Facebook are also kind of now becoming an early adopter because they've changed the whole way MySpace works. So it's some of the issues.
Yeah, I think that was good to identify that as a risk, because usually as an early adopter, a lot of money's been spent in adapting the technology that's around. You've had a big hit in terms of profit, you've kind of probably indebted to some extent.
Yeah, 100%.
Other people can come in and take what you've done.
Well, the other problem with that is that, like I say, a lot of investment goes, when you're an early adopter, a lot of investment goes into being an early adopter, and there's a lot of failures in that time as well. You can put a lot of investment into a new Snapchat VR feature. For example, Snap Lens. Remember the glasses?
Yeah.
Well, they absolutely flopped. They were, they went down sales. So many people bought them, and a lot of money went into that investment, but it never caught on. While things such as Stories also had investment, but they did catch on. But the Snap goggles cost a lot more money. The thing is, Snapchat lost a lot of money introducing that, and a company like Facebook, they just monitored it. They thought, you know what, Snap goggles don't work, but the Story thing does, well like that, and they put it on. So these companies that steal the ideas generally make a lot more money out of it in that sense.
Okay, so any other technologies that you felt you didn't cover that you could have mentioned in terms of IT for business use of?
Maybe a bit more on VR and AR
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
development.
That's kind of around, it's in the air. No?
Like the newest technology development.
So,
I think you can talk about it, really. That's what Snap Spec tools are. If you guys actually know what the Snap glasses are, because they are technically.
Yeah.
go on, tell us more about them.
You don't want to sit presentation.
Yeah, no, she's right.
No, that's right, it's question and answer.
The AR,
Yeah.
you put them on and you have like a holographic site, and it means like if you wink, for example, you start Snapchatting, you can start recording, and you can use your eyes to send it or whatever.
It's like the Google Glass thing.
Very similar.
Yeah.
It uses the same technology. So it's the
But
same.
was that in the presentation? I can't remember.
Snapchat's cool time.
That's what
No,
I'm
but
saying. That's what we just
the reason,
back.
yeah, I could have that in. The
Yeah,
reason I
more.
didn't, because I didn't think it's relevant to. I don't think it's relevant to risk management because.
No, maybe in new technologies.
Business development.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I know Google Glass there's things around, but I would say at the moment
Right.
it's an early adopter stage. Nobody really knows how the cards are going to fall. No one really knows the definitive platform yet. So that kind of relates back to what you're talking about. People are not sure. There's products out there, but they're not universally adopted yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Last, not least, nothing more to say.
I'll move on quickly to something about Microsoft Office because I think it's a really interesting case study for you guys.
Yeah, go on, in terms of technology.
Yeah, because the way they've improved over time is crazy.
I mean, that's a good point. Why do you think Microsoft have held the stake in the business sector? What is the benefit about being an established company? What have you usually got in the bank?
Yeah, the
Money.
Yeah.
Develop new technologies.
You also have
a billion. I mean, I can't remember.
You also have prestige, which is a really important factor. You've got, prestige means it comes to business.
Yeah, we do,
So yeah, the fact that Microsoft is now such a renowned company and so well known, if they release new updates for Office, you automatically have a subconscious impression of it going to be a really good new technology. Or if a brand new company came out and used the same software, you might think it's a bit crappy because
Like the Google Docs and stuff.
yeah. Well, Google Docs, kind of, because Google's still a very well-renowned company, so when that got released, it's still very impressive. But if, for example, an SME, like a low company, release stuff like Google Docs before Google, it might not be looked at in the same way because they haven't got that automatic prestige. Because Google's so well known, millions of people bought Google Docs straight away. Well, it's hard to catch on to it for small businesses.
Yeah, okay. And your point about Snapchat's reliance on Google servers, that's another interesting one. Yeah, potentially would make them vulnerable to some risk.
The good way to think about that, which way I like to think about it, is, I don't know, I doubt anyone else thinks about it this way actually, but I used to do geography and I had to learn about over-reliance on energy resources. So, for example, the Ukraine relies 100% on Russia for all of its electricity, gas, everything. It uses Russia's gas, so if Russia decides to cut them off, that's it, they're gone. And that happened. That's why there was a massive crisis in the Ukraine. And it's the exact same thing for Snapchat. If Google decides to go, yeah, you're off, and go like that, they're done. That's kind of over-reliance on energy resource. It's good to have an energy mix. And it's the same, you want to have kind of a mix of different things you can do as backup.
Does anyone remember when we get the piece on competitive pressures, competitive analysis of business, the 5 forces?
Yeah, 4 is 5 forces.
Yeah, good. This is what it's tapping into. Ideally, the supplier analysis, have more than one supplier as part of the business plan for exactly the reason you cited. It could be getting materials from not just one part of the globe, but from another, because materials may be interrupted.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. I think we'll leave it there. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Cheers.